Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Monday, August 3rd. The Ball State game is in 33 days, Michigan in 117 days. I'm your host, Tony Gerdeman, here in for Tom Orr, who will be back soon. We are presented by Jeff Ruby's Columbus, proudly offering nationally acclaimed USDA prime steaks, seafood and sushi, impeccable service, live entertainment, and an attention to detail that is simply unmatched. Go to Jeff Ruby's Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. So, we are back from Big Ten Media Days, and there's some wrapping up that we wanted to do. And every year, one of the things that we do is we speak with Big Ten Director of Officials, Bill Carollo, who goes over some of the new rules and the new things that are being emphasized. And so wanted to have him explain those to you. And also one of the new things that the Big Ten is doing is they will be allowing the television to broadcast to be in the replay booth. They'll show you what's going on. Now this is for Friday games only, Friday night games only. Bill Carollo says Friday night home Big Ten games, and you'll get to see just essentially what the Big 12 has done, where you get the camera in there, you get the audio in there as well. And so I asked Bill Carollo, not knowing the answer to this, I asked him, have you guys talked about it or studied it? And he said, yes, in fact, we've done both. And here he is on the whys of doing this, how the coaches felt about it, and would it potentially be continued on throughout the season and into all games. And here's what he had to say about those things. On that.
We've done both. We've talked about it. We've studied it. And we more than are considering it is we're going to start it this year for Friday night games. If it's a home Big Ten game, if it's officiated by Big Ten officials, which means we have our command center plugged into the game, we will allow television to take a look at our video that we're looking at in the replay process, as well as the verbal side of it, the audio side of it. So they're going to get exactly what's going on. It'll be 100% transparent, exactly. I mean, television does a great job showing the plays, and you know, there's so many X number of angles that show the play. He caught it, he didn't, his knee was down, it was a first down, etc. But you'll hear the dialogue between the referee to the replay person up in the booth at the stadium, and then also the command center where we have a supervisor overseeing those games. So that will happen. Commissioner and I talked about, you know, looking at that with the coaches, the head coaches, in our spring meetings, and it was suggested by the coaches, and I said, no problem, we'll do it, but I'd like to walk before I run, make sure it works well and the communication is proper. The other side of it is that, besides giving the video and audio to television, we're going to give the coaches in their coaches box the actual, not the audio, but the actual video that we see and all the extra angles that maybe TV doesn't show. But if we have 16 cameras and they get it down to 4 or 5 on a play, they're going to have a chance to look at all 16.
And then if you like what's going on, how do you determine that it's going to go beyond that? Is it just going to be Fridays this year, that's it?
Well, that's what we announced to the coaches, and that's what I'm planning for. But we always take a deep breath at the end of September. Non-conference is over, and we're going into conference play. If it looks good and we're comfortable, the commissioner will make a decision at that time. And it could be the whole season, but for right now, it'll be Friday night. We'll walk before each sprint.
And if the coaches want it after September, how much does that weigh?
Coaches want a lot of things. And there's a really good relationship with the coaches. And let me say, this is my 18th season, maybe 19 as I came in for a half a year with Dave Perry back in 08. I would say this is the best level of coaches, the best quality of coaches, top to bottom in this league. And they ask me for a lot, and my job is sometimes to say, no, it's a good idea, it's a good rule change, we'll consider it, but you know, here are the rules for this year, here's what we're going to do this year. But you know, the coaches have a great relationship. You heard from the coaches the respect that the commissioner has, and that's true. That isn't just for the media. That's really happens. He's an unbelievable leader. We don't have great games and a great conference and great success unless you have leadership at the top, great coaches, excellent players, and of course, I'm biased, but you have to have great officiating.
Always a popular topic among officials every year in college football is targeting. The new rule in place for this season that is, if a player gets called for targeting in the second half and is ejected, that ejection and suspension does not continue to the next game. It is contained in that game. Now, that is only if it's a first targeting call. A second targeting call would then lead to missing the first half of the next game. The third targeting call would be an ejection from that game and also missing that entire next game. Now, these are very rare things that happen. In fact, only a couple of players even had 2 targeting penalties last year. But here's Bill Carollo talking about that and why the change. Basically, losing portions of 2 games they finally felt was too punitive.
I would say targeting. I get the most pressure from commissioners, coaches, players, fans throughout the whole season. When we do have it, and it's a great rule, targeting. It's we're out there for player protection. We want the integrity of the game. We want the right teams to win and lose the game, not officials have an impact on it. However, because of players' health and safety, it's so important. The targeting rule is good, but it was pretty penal. It was a major penalty, not just 15 yards, but you're out of the game. And that's why we brought replay in, made it reviewable, and now we have a command center. Now we have a second review at the command center. And I'm not looking for perfection on everything, but I am looking for consistency. And if we call it the same way, the coaches know it, the players know it, and he didn't mean it. Well, yeah, but he hit him in the head. He was defenseless. He used the crown, whatever. So we don't make excuses, but the new rule for this year is, okay, you're going to be disqualified from the game. You're going to go out because of targeting, but we're not going to hold that over to you, carry over for the next game. Last year, there was only a handful of players around the country, and we didn't have any in the Big Ten, around the country that had 2 targeting calls. So if you do have 2 targeting calls in a season, then you're going to be disqualified from that game, and then we are going to hit you the next time. If it happens again, you're going to be sitting out that next game. 3 times you're out that game plus a full game. So we can get even bigger. I say we changed the rule because the penalty was too heavy. But we're talking 1% that might get 2, or 0.5% that might have 3. I haven't seen it myself, and I oversee a lot of leagues. But I think the targeting change, and I'd like to see replay get closer to the NFL with a flag and a challenge. And we're putting so much on the replay people. They want, it's not there to get every single call correct. It's the major calls in the game that are reviewable and that we'd like to try to adjust. And like I say, we average maybe 2.5 stoppages in the game. If we're really good at it, get it right, and we're efficient, think about what you hear the referees announce that it's a quick review, and we don't even go to the sideline sometimes. We use the technology, O2O. Chicago's calling into the booth at the stadium. Stadium is talking to the referee and says, hey, the guy's knee was down at the 50-yard line. It's a first down. That's simple. So we're trying to get efficient. We're not perfect. Nothing's perfect in this game between the players, coaches, and officials. Thank you.
In terms of the penalties that are going to be a little bit more emphasized this year, holding, and that's offensive line, that's defensive backs, basically wherever it can be. And certain holding is allowed or just permitted, I guess, if it's not impacting the play or if no advantage is being gained. But Bill Carollo cites a couple of, he mentions there were some missed holding calls in the Big Ten championship game between Indiana and Ohio State that he said his guys have to see and have to make that call. You may remember seeing, say, Kenyatta Jackson tackled on a 3rd down play by Indiana that may have, could have helped Ohio State had that call been made, for instance. And so Bill talks about the need for the emphasis to be right and to get those calls correct, and also maybe being a little bit more efficient in calling the hands from DBs. As we know, that's you can watch an entire game and see just constant grabbing. And so maybe they're going to try to take a little bit of that out of the game, at least early on. We'll see how it goes. And here's him talking about both of those aspects.
So that game, we missed a couple plays, Indiana and Ohio State,
And I said, at that point, we can't miss that. When it's a foul, it's a foul. So we put emphasis on that. We're not looking to have 5 more holding calls in the game either. But I'm telling the coaches, if this, and we show them the plays, I said, if this happens, I'm telling my guys, I want a flag on these types of plays. So they'll coach around it, and they'll just say, you can't do that. They're going to flag it, and you're going to hurt the team. You're going to pull back a touchdown.
Was there a feeling that maybe holding had gotten a little too loose, a little liberalized in how it's been enforced the last few years?
Yes. I mean, it's a little different between the tackles with the offensive linemen, and it's a little holding is a little different out in the wings, So we don't get as technical inside the tackle box. We let them get inside the frame, and if I'm holding, and as long as I'm moving my feet, and I'm going and I'm taking you up off the edge, going and I'm protecting the quarterback, and I stay in between you and the quarterback, it's going to be okay, even though I know he's on the inside. He gets outside, 1,001, 1,002, you better get it off because I'm throwing it on 3. So, and it goes pretty fast, but it's advantage, disadvantage. You got to block them. Like when I started, you used to grab your jersey. You had to get your keeps, your hands in. You can't block like this. It's changed. The game has changed, and I'm okay with it because of passing. The passing rule came in 1906. It changed the whole game. So we got 120 years. Passing game gets bigger and bigger, and the athletes are, it was 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That's what we used to say in the Big Ten. Now the whole field is used, and athletes are using it. So holding is different there. We get a lot more technical with the defense. If I'm starting to get beat and I grab you, trying to swing myself back into the play, it's going to have holding just like that. I mean, you're going to have a quicker defensive holding on the wide receiver, and I think that the DBs, especially at the top of a route, is he going out to the right? Is he going to his left? Is he doing up the field, up the seam? Right when he makes a move, the defender grabs him, and then he can't get out. He's trying to hold him for a split second. It's more like basketball. A hand. Okay, that's a foul in basketball. Football, in between the tackle boxes, we let a lot more go. And we, not that they're wrestling in there, but if you move your feet, you're going to stay pretty clean on that. So it's a judgment, and you gain an advantage, or you didn't gain an advantage. And that's kind of what we look at. It's kind of.
And then the last thing that I wanted to throw in was something that we talked with Ohio State special teams coordinator Robbie Disher back in the spring, a new punt alignment rule taking away basically any kind of mystery or deception from some of the more creative special teams coaches, and why that decision was made and how it kind of snuck through. And it was something that was universally panned by the coaches, but yet the coaches also allowed it to be passed, which Bill Carollo points out. And so I left my question in here so that you can kind of see his response to it a little bit as he has a sly smile, and then goes more into detail about what it is, why people aren't happy, and why they should just need to accept it. Here you go.
You said coaches want a lot of things. One of the things they didn't want was the new punt formation rule. What went into that? The thought process and the talks and all of that?
Yeah, the scrimmage kick formation, and most fans won't notice it.
Right.
The media won't notice it. My special teams coaches really noticed it, and some of the head coaches are very emphatic about why did you? I said, wait a minute, I'm not on the rules committee anymore. But the reality is, it went through the FCA. The coaches looked at it. They're busy with NIL recruiting. It didn't get to probably the top of the stack for the head coach or the special teams guy. And I thought maybe we could have done a better job when you have this many approved rulings after we make a rule change and all this controversy and the Zoom calls that we've had on the rule. But the rule is the rule. It passed and it's in there and we're going to enforce it. But they're taking away what they've done for years and players that they recruited for the special teams, linebackers, defensive backs on the offensive side, punting the ball, running down the field. And now we're saying you have to be in tight, you can't spread them out. And they were doing it for some trick plays, or at least forcing the other team to think, oh, they may pass off this situation. That end guy is off the line, and now this left guard, who's the next guy in, is number 88, and he can catch a pass. I mean, it got confusing for the defense, so there's reasons why they did it. Most teams don't run a fake punt, but less than 1% of the time. So we made a rule change that affected about 1% of the plays for punts. And I think it'll be looked at again, and I think we'll clean it up, and we'll try to make it better for the game. But for right now, they don't like it, but that's a good example. Coaches might not like it, but it's voted in, and that's what we're going to do.
So there you go. Thanks as always to Bill Carollo for taking the time to talk with us and answer the questions that we have. We will have maybe a little bit more from Big Ten Media Days, but camp is fast approaching, begins on Thursday. We'll have some previews in terms of some camp battles to watch out for, and then we'll of course have some post-game, post-practice shows for you this weekend. Practice kicks off on Thursday. We will be at the first 3 practices, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and we'll let you know everything we see as those wrap up. Those will be in the morning, so we'll be doing we'll be there in the morning, then we will be talking to some players and coaches afterwards, and then we'll be talking amongst ourselves, and we'll giving you guys a full update on everything we see and heard and all of that good stuff immediately after. So want to thank Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse, as always, the award-winning upscale steakhouse in downtown Columbus, named one of the top 50 steakhouses in America by Food Network. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. Also suggest that you head over onto BuckeyeInsiders.com, become a member. It is the absolute best way to support what we do. Would love to see you there. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.